The story begins with something so small, so ordinary, that most of us overlook it every single day. A password, just a string of characters typed into a box. Yet in the summer of 2025, one weak password pulled the plug on a 158-year-old company and ended its story forever. The company was KNP Logistics, a cornerstone of the UK supply chain, a firm that had endured wars, recessions, and decades of technological change. For over a century and a half, it kept goods moving, trucks, warehouses, routes fine-tuned to serve industries that depended on them. But in June, their engines didn't just stop because of fuel shortages or broken machines. They stopped because of ransomware. And the door to that ransomware wasn't some elite Hollywood-style hack. It was a single password. Think about that for a moment. The backbone of logistics in Britain, undone by a key that wasn't strong enough to lock its own front door. Here's how it happened. Attackers, identified as the Akira ransomware group, didn't need to pry open dozens of firewalls or write custom exploits. Instead, they found a weakly protected account, an employee login with a password so simple that it could have been guessed or cracked in seconds. Once they had access, they moved silently, like burglars who've been handed the master key. From that single point of entry, the attackers escalated their access, moving to the company's internal systems. This process, called lateral movement, is when hackers jump from one compromised system to another, often using stolen credentials, until they reach critical assets. It's like breaking into a single apartment and then discovering that every other door in the building has the same cheap lock. And then came the ransomware. The attackers encrypted KNP's core systems, locking up data, halting logistics operations, and paralyzing the business. Trucks couldn't be dispatched. Warehouses froze. Clients panicked. And behind the scenes, the attackers demanded payment. £5 million. In exchange for the decryption key. For KNP, the damage was devastating. It wasn't just the cost of recovery or the ransom itself. It was a sheer disruption. In logistics, every hour of downtime is a chain reaction. Deliveries missed, supply chains delayed, contracts broken, clients lost. For a company already under financial strain, this attack was a final blow. By September, the 158-year-old giant had collapsed into administration. All because of one weak password. And this wasn't Akira's first time. Since March 2023, this group has allegedly extorted more than $42 million from over 250 organizations worldwide. Cybersecurity researchers at Sophos observed that Akira affiliates often use a two-step chain of compromise, first stealing data, then deploying ransomware, doubling the pressure on victims to pay. Their targets have ranged from schools to manufacturers, and now, one of the UK's oldest logistics providers. Now, you might wonder, how could this even happen in 2025, when password security is one of the oldest lessons in cybersecurity? The truth is, weak or reused passwords remain one of the top entry points for attackers. Studies show that nearly 80% of hacking-related breaches involve compromised credentials, and many businesses, even large ones, still rely on outdated password policies or skip critical safeguards like multi-factor authentication. So what can be done? The lesson here is clear, and it's urgent. Businesses need to implement strong password policies, requiring length, complexity, and uniqueness. But that's just the start. Multi-factor authentication, an extra step like a text code, mobile app prompt, or physical security key, turns that fragile lock into a reinforced barrier. Password managers can help employees generate and store strong credentials without having to memorize them. And monitoring tools should constantly check for compromised passwords appearing on the dark web. Equally important, companies must plan for the worst. That means practicing incident response drills, backing up critical systems in secure, offline environments, and regularly testing how fast those backups can be restored. Because when ransomware hits, the clock is ticking. KNP's story is tragic, but it is not unique. It's a warning. In an age where attackers don't need bombs or guns to destroy an institution, sometimes the smallest crack is all they need. A password that should have been stronger. A door that should have been locked. So, next time you type in your password, ask yourself, is this a key that could end everything? Because sometimes all we need is level 1 cyber hygiene, and we're good to go. Hackers still try the basics to get entry. CyFlicks, digital mysteries, real stories.